Hello, and welcome to the 12 Days of Tradmas. If you're new around here, my name is Kit, and Tradmas is a series I do in December where I talk about the harmful beliefs and ideas promoted by certain influencers, content creators, and so on. Basically, my normal content, but more of it and with a festive flair. And on the 8th day of Tradmas, we're discussing Estee Williams. Before we get into it, I would like to note that I don't know Estee, and these are my thoughts and opinions on the content she puts out for public consumption. That being said, thank you for clicking on this video, and I would like to give extra thanks to my patrons. I want to note that there is nothing wrong with being a house spouse or stay-at-home parent. There is a reason, however, as to why TradWives don't call themselves housewives or homemakers. So if you're watching this thinking you're a TradWife, if you don't believe the LGBTQ+ community has a nefarious agenda, if you don't believe women need to submit to men, and you're not a white nationalist, you're not a TradWife. Estee Williams is a proud TradWife influencer, and I mean proud. Her bio consists of one line, traditional wife, and she's made multiple reels about the TradWife life, even before she was a wife. How to become a traditional wife in 2022? Marry a trustworthy masculine man who thinks traditionally. She married in January 2023, so what did she know about TradWife life before then? Also, when this video goes up, she'll still have been married for less than a year, so how does she figure she's some sort of expert on being a wife in general, let alone a TradWife? That's definitely not stopping her from telling women how to be a good wife, and it's also not stopping her from telling us what TradWives are about. From February 2023.
Okay, so I'm here to make a clarification video because of the big controversy going around about the term TradWife and the intent behind the term, as well as the intent behind my channel and what I post. If you are not familiar with the term TradWife, it is a woman who chooses to live a more traditional life with ultra-traditional gender roles. So the man goes outside the house, works, provides for the family. The woman stays home and she's the homemaker. She takes care of the home and the children if there are any. The misconception about the TradWife movement, it's not really a movement. Nobody's pushing it. People are typically just living it and maybe showcasing their lifestyle like me. And we believe our place, specifically us as individuals, believe our purpose is to be homemakers. It doesn't mean that we are trying to take away what women fought for. There are a lot of people trying to make this a sinister thing or put some other darker meaning behind the term TradWife. Nobody is doing that. No TradWife TikTokers are saying every woman's place is in their home. We as individuals are just choosing to be homemakers. That's all. TradWives also believe that they should submit to their husbands and serve their husbands and family. And that triggers people because the words submit and serve, it makes women think that we're saying that we're less than a man. That's not what we're saying. TradWives just believe that they are here as women for a different role, equally as important though. I can make another video on that another time. To be a homemaker and to have traditional values does not make us bad people. It's 2022, women should have the choice to be homemakers or not without being judged. And women should also be able to use the term TradWife, which means traditional wife, and not be shunned for wanting to be more traditional.
And then 4 months later.
Today, I'm going to be talking about the TradWife movement. So last year, when I first got my voice on TikTok, I made a video on what is a TradWife. And in that video, I said that it's not a movement. And now I want to take that back. I can see clearly that this is much more like a movement than I thought it was. There are so many men and women using their social media to promote and showcase traditional gender roles because they are valued. In a world full of chaos, there is a shift happening where people are becoming more resilient and rebelling against that chaos happening right now. Women are proudly stating that they don't want a career and they want to be a full-time wife and mother. And the truth is, there is no higher calling than being a wife and a mother for a woman. Now, let me make this crystal clear. I am not undermining any woman who wants a career. If you want a career along being a wife and a mother, that is great. But being a wife and a mother should be your top priority always. And that is what is so great about this movement. Order is coming back into place in a chaotic world. You will also see a lot of similar topics being talked about along TradWife TikTok, and that is masculine men, feminine women, providing, homemaking. All those topics go together hand in hand to create a more traditional marriage. Now, it is a personal choice, and this is where I say I appreciate working mothers and wives. I do not bash any woman who wants a career, and no homemaker should bash any woman, and vice versa. Now, the TradWife movement has nothing to do with any of these things listed. No. The reason so many people are trying to connect these negative things with the TradWife movement is to destroy traditional values. On the bright side, the men and women in this movement are resilient, and we are not going to step down. Have a great day, and there you have it, the TradWife movement.
If you're wondering, she's claiming the TradWife movement has nothing to do with racism, removing women's rights, and oppressing or degrading women. And I honestly can't tell if she's doing the typical deflection or if she really believes being a TradWife is just about traditional gender roles. But you can't claim your movement isn't about oppressing or degrading women when your movement believes that women are to submit to men. And perhaps Estee herself has no interest in making everyone follow her lifestyle, but, well, either she's purposely ignorant or she's pretending to be. There are plenty of articles and even books written about how the TradWife movement is tied to white nationalism. I'll link some below for anyone interested. It is not a new discovery, and continuing to use the term TradWife is a strong indicator that you're okay with being associated with such things. Estee could call herself a homemaker or a housewife. However, labeling oneself a TradWife does come with media attention, which I think Estee craves. Per this reel, which is set to copyrighted music, Estee tried fitness modeling, but had to cut that off. She moved to Vegas to create a reality show with her family, but that didn't work out. Then she went to college to study meteorology, but dropped out. Then she attempted to be an actress, but that wasn't for her. And now she's a traditional wife married to a blue-collar man. And, well, Estee has definitely been making the rounds as a TradWife. If fame was what she was after, well done. But I'm having a hard time believing this is just, Estee's lifestyle she's showing online when she's talking about TradWife life on Michael Knowles, Piers Morgan, OAN, and being interviewed by Fox and The Spectator. So mark me down as skeptical that she's just showing her life online. She wants to be famous, no other path to fame worked out, and so she's going to be a TradWife influencer. Though, she would like us to know that she doesn't make money off this. And this is kind of funny because I'm pretty sure at one point she said she didn't want to monetize because that would go against her belief that men are to be the breadwinners, but now it's that she decided, why not? But social media companies wouldn't pay her. Curious, but I'm not really concerned about whether Estee gets paid or not. I'm concerned about her message. Like other TradWives, Estee conflates feminism with capitalism and is thankful she's been liberated from feminism, and she plays into the notion that TradWives are condemned by the world because they want to stay home and care for their family. And then she posts things from accounts called Western Culture Family Values about how having the husband as head of the house is the right order and Jesus remains the lead, but having the wife as head of the house is wrong and Satan becomes the lead. Satan. And then she posts stories about how we live in a gynocentric world and feminism was created to make women men and men lapdogs, and we need to make wives great again and bring the darn patriarchy back. And of course, remember this. They attack masculine men because they know a world full of real men could lead the world. They attack feminine women because a world with more feminine energy can heal the world and build family units. Put that kind of man and woman together, and they're unstoppable. Who is they? And naturally, she's pro-life in all circumstances because she doesn't believe you can make a traumatic experience better with another traumatic experience. There are other options for women who can't be mothers, and she feels strongly about this. Of course she does. But it was just seeing these posts that made me think Estee might be serious and not just using the TradWife movement to become an influencer. But the cherry on top, the thing that really caught my attention, was her advice for women. First, let's talk about when women should stress.
The time to stress about your man's integrity, his character, his intentions, is not when you are married to that person. It is when you are dating that person. From what I have observed, the women who set these backup plans in place for if their husband were to cheat or divorce them are the women who did not stress enough in their dating life. They were really ignorant to certain things. They forgave things they probably shouldn't have forgiven. Therefore, when they got married, that is when they became stressed about the potential of their marriage collapsing. instead of discouraging women who want to be financially dependent on their husbands, let's encourage and teach women to be smart and map out the person that they are dating to see if that is a potential husband. Let me know if you guys want to see a video on that. Bye!
Because, of course, people never change after marriage. This is a great way to get women to internalize, I did something wrong, I didn't vet him enough before we married, but she also continues to insist that there is nothing wrong with relying on a man and having no backup plan.
So I wanted to come on here and share my thoughts about this. Why are we telling women, even starting out as young girls, that they need to have a life of independence? I know that this is an unpopular opinion and a lot of people are going to think differently. I think that that is a very toxic way to bring up a girl, to tell her that she can never depend on a man, and even if she falls in love with that man, always have a way of supporting herself. So it's okay to get married and to buy a house with somebody, to reproduce and raise a family with that person, but don't depend on that person financially. This idea is so twisted. We're constantly being told we can't trust each other, and men are being told they can't trust women anymore, that all women want is to be promiscuous and you can't trust a woman, everybody's a cheater. This is so toxic, you guys. I always said I wanted to be a homemaker. I wanted to stay home and cook and clean and live a simple life, and I was told that that is a very high calling for a woman. However, I should go to college, pick a degree, start a career, then get married, then have children, and then become a stay-at-home wife and mother, and that makes no sense. Why would I live my life that long single, unless, of course, I didn't find the one until that time? We are meant to share this life with our soulmate, not be independent and lonely. A big part of sharing your life with somebody is trusting them, and if you can trust them with your body, sharing a home with them, and raising a child with them, you sure as heck can trust them financially. And if you can't, you didn't marry the right person. Independence does not equal fulfillment.
Independence might not equal fulfillment, but it does equal peace of mind. And you can date and marry when in college. You don't have to stay single unless you want to. Also, it's not about trust. It's about making sure you don't end up homeless or in a bad situation if something goes wrong. And I have to say, she's very smug about picking the right person for someone who's been married less than a year and doesn't have kids yet. And what's especially galling is that, per her Fox News interview, for Williams, being a stay-at-home wife was an early aspiration. It likely happened, she said, after she saw her mother struggle to balance childcare and jobs after her divorce. I got inspired mainly by the way I grew up and wanting the opposite of what I grew up with, said Williams, who described her childhood and upbringing as hectic due to frequent family moves. The little time that we saw my mother, I really took it to heart, Williams recalled. I just remember thinking that I never want this life. What does she think would happen if her husband were to pass or they were to divorce? How does she not think she wouldn't be left juggling childcare and work in that situation? Does she have some secret savings account she's pretending she doesn't have? Is she banking on support from her family? If so, that's great for Estee, but a lot of people don't have that, and it's incredibly irresponsible for her to pretend that it's just fine to not worry about your financial health. And, in fact, is actually a sign of trust in your partner if you don't spare it a thought. I've changed my mind. At the beginning, I was on the fence as to whether or not Estee was actually a TradWife, but now I'm convinced that she is, and she's no better than the rest. In fact, she might actually be worse, as she's actively encouraging women to blame themselves if their marriages go wrong and to not concern themselves with their financial futures. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.